Hey friend, how are you? I hope you're well. I want to talk to you about the importance of leaving spaces empty in your life when you're waiting for the things that you know are meant to be yours. When we're waiting for the things, when we're waiting for the one, when we're waiting for opportunities, it can get very lonely. It can get quiet. It can start to feel as though that thing is not going to come. And that gap of space between where you are currently and the place you want to get to can feel so big and so wide in a way where it becomes overwhelming. And in that overwhelm, one of the things we sometimes do is go for the lowest hanging fruit, knowing that this lower hanging fruit is not what we need, is not what we want, but it just fills the space better than nothingness. But the problem with this is that that space needs to be empty. There is something to be learned in nothingness. I'm not going to sit here and deny that the stillness, the waiting period is not uncomfortable. It is extremely uncomfortable. But what I will say is that distractions that fill that space temporarily do not serve the purpose that we think they do. If you're waiting for the one, you're waiting for that opportunity, and in the meantime, you're distracting yourself with lower hanging fruit, things that are not purpose, that are not divine, that you know are not what you want, but they are able to ease that discomfort. You might just end up prolonging that discomfort because instead of sitting in that stillness, gleaning, learning, focusing, getting comfortable, and getting to the bottom of what is really feeling uncomfortable, you're distracting yourself. And now, with that focus on something that isn't long-term, that isn't ideal, that isn't meant for you, your focus is on the wrong thing. In that stillness, there are things we're meant to learn, things we're meant to see, and also opportunities that are going to come at random times when we least expect it. But now, if you're in a situation where you're focused on something that's distracting, that's not on purpose, you won't even be able to see those things coming at any angle because you're focused on the wrong thing. And by being distracted, you now end up prolonging that situation you're in when you could have already been out of it. Avoid low-hanging fruit. Your life, your purpose, your destiny, your energy is too precious, too important, too great for you to allow anything to fill the space, because anything feels better than nothing. Anything only feels better than nothing right now. But when you look back on that time and you see what you allowed yourself to entertain, this could be people, this could be opportunities, you're gonna feel some type of way about it, because you have to bring your vibrations down. You have to bring your energy down. You have to convince yourself that you are worth less than you are to justify certain things in your life. And I know that when we're in those seasons where we're waiting for things and we're uncomfortable, it can start to make us doubt what we're worth, But at the end of the day, hold out, stay strong, be determined, and have faith so that when what is meant for you comes your way, you're not gonna miss it because you were toying with temporary pleasures that weren't even going to be anything worthwhile, and you knew that from the beginning. Another risk of stepping out of stillness into distraction is that if you start to hang around things that are not meant for you long enough, your mind and your reality are gonna have to find a middle ground. If you believe that this is what you deserve, this is what you're waiting for, this is what's worthy, but constantly you're hanging around and entertaining things that are less than, that gap, although we were dealing with this gap before, the gap of your higher thinking and the lower reality are gonna have to also be closed in some way. And if our mind can't fathom that the reality that we want is not the reality that we see, our mind begins to shift and determine that maybe the reality that we see is what's available to us. And you could see how this can be so dangerous when we're entertaining lower hanging fruit, when we're entertaining things that don't call us into purpose, things that are not beneficial to us, because we don't want to be lonely, because we don't like being still, because eventually we begin to convince ourselves that this is what we're worth. And then there goes everything that was for us up here, because now we're living in the comfort zone down here. And because we've been here so long, everything up here starts to feel like it doesn't even exist. And instead of being sad at that gap, we average down to the bottom. So I know it's tough. I know it's difficult. I know that when you've been waiting for something so long, it can start to feel as if that thing is no longer available to you, but hold on to faith. This is a confirmation. This is why you need to continue to hold on to faith, because in due time, it will make sense. What is due time? I can't say, because I'm not God, but what I can say is that if it feels right, if it felt right, if you felt convicted about it, remind yourself of the feelings, remind yourself of that conviction on those moments, in those times when you start to feel like being still is difficult. Another thing that is important to know is that stillness doesn't mean stagnation. It doesn't mean doing absolutely nothing. It means actively waiting. So as I'm waiting for X, this is the thing I want. This is the man I want. This is the life that I want. What are the things in the meantime that I can be doing to ensure that when I receive this blessing that I've been waiting for, I will be ready for it? Not distracting myself with lower vibrations and things that don't make sense, but instead actively waiting. If I want the man of my dreams, how do I become a woman who is whole, able, full of love, confident, and grounded enough to even be able to handle him when he comes, to be able to steward that relationship well? If I'm waiting for the job opportunity that is going to shift me to the next level, what can I do at my current job to continue to refine my skills, to build my discipline? Is there a course that I need to take? What are the things that I need to do in the gap that are actually beneficial as I'm stilly and faithfully waiting for that thing to manifest, because I know it's coming? So stillness is not just a bunch of nothing. It's a bunch of strategic somethings that continue to push you in the direction you want, not things that will distract you and continue to push you further away from that thing, because now you're focusing on things that you shouldn't have even been looking at in the first place. So I hope this helps. I hope it allows you to see that you're on the right path and that you can pick up a few more tools instead of indulging in things that you really have no business indulging in. And I will talk to you again soon. And in the meantime, I want you to continue to be kind to yourself, because you're a work in progress and you're making progress. Bye.